Welcome to the Midnight Ledger, Bite Size. 6 short original horror stories told by firelight, part of the Campfire Tales collection from
The Witness Ledger.
Tonight, we have 6 stories drawn from the shadows of the things you find and wish you hadn't. Come closer. The fire's warm, and the night is waiting. Story 1, The Music Box. This recording is for whoever finds the box next. I don't know how far the influence spreads, or if destroying it even matters anymore. But if you're hearing this, you need to understand one thing. It doesn't play music. Not really. It plays memories. And once it plays yours, it doesn't give them back. I found the box 3 weeks ago at an estate sale on the edge of town. The house was one of those old Victorian places that look like they're leaning away from the road, as if they're ashamed to be seen. The woman running the sale told me the previous owner had passed suddenly, and that most of the belongings were being cleared out by distant relatives. The music box wasn't on display. It was tucked behind a stack of yellowed newspapers, half hidden under a moth-eaten shawl. I only noticed it because the metal latch glinted when the sun hit it. It was small, palm-sized, carved from dark wood with a pattern that looked almost like vines wrapping around the edges. The lid had a tiny brass inlay of a child dancing. The figure's face was worn smooth, like too many fingers had touched it. I don't know why I picked it up. I don't even remember deciding to. One moment it was on the shelf, and the next it was in my hands. When I lifted the lid, the melody started immediately. Soft, slow, familiar in a way that made my stomach twist. I asked the woman how much it was. She looked at the box, then at me, and her expression changed, like she wanted to say something but thought better of it. "Take it," she said. "No charge." I should have left it there. The first night, the melody played normally, or at least I thought it did. But the second night, it changed. It wasn't the tune that changed. It was the timing. The melody slowed down, stretching each note until it felt like the box was breathing. And underneath the music, I heard something else. A whisper, too faint to make out, too close to ignore. I closed the lid. The music kept playing. I wrapped the box in a towel and shoved it in a drawer. The music kept playing. I took it outside and left it on the back step. The music kept playing. But here's the part that still makes my skin crawl. The melody wasn't coming from the box anymore. It was coming from inside my head. On the 4th night, I woke up to find the box sitting on my bedside table. I hadn't put it there. The lid was open. The mechanism was turning on its own. And the melody, it wasn't a lullaby anymore. It was my mother's humming. She used to hum that tune when I was a child, when I was sick, when I couldn't sleep. I hadn't heard it in 20 years. I slammed the lid shut. The humming continued for a full minute before fading into silence. That was the first time I realized the box wasn't playing music. It was playing me. I tried to get rid of it. I drove to the river and threw it as far as I could. I watched it sink. When I got home, the box was waiting on my kitchen table. Dry, open, playing a new melody. This time, it was my father's voice, a memory I'd forgotten. Him calling my name from the bottom of the garden the day he disappeared. I don't know how the box knew that. I don't know how it knows anything, but it does. It knows everything. The last memory it played was one I didn't recognize. A child's voice, crying, begging, saying, "Please don't close the lid, it's dark in here." I don't know who the child was. I don't know if it was a memory from the box's previous owner or a memory it wants me to have. But I do know this. The box is hungry. Every time it plays a memory, I feel something leave me. A detail, a moment, a piece of who I am. I'm forgetting things, important things. My mother's face, my father's voice, my own handwriting. The box is taking them, and I think it's replacing them with something else. Something that isn't mine. If you found this recording, you've probably found the box too. Don't open it, don't touch it, don't listen to it, because once it plays your memories, you won't know which ones were yours to begin with. And when the melody changes, and it will, you'll understand what I mean. The box doesn't play music, it plays you, and it never stops. Story 2. The photograph. Okay, so I don't really know how to start this without sounding insane, but I need to get this out somewhere. If anyone has experienced something similar, please tell me, because I haven't slept properly in days. This all started when I found an old photograph in a second-hand book I bought from a charity shop. The book was a battered hardback about local folklore, nothing special. But the photo slipped out when I opened it. It was a Polaroid. Square, faded, edges curled. The kind of picture that looks older than it should. The photo showed a living room, old-fashioned wallpaper, a sagging sofa, a lamp with a fringe shade. And in the center of the room, sitting on the floor, with her back to the camera, was a child, a little girl, maybe 7 or 8, long, dark hair, white nightdress. She was staring at something out of frame. I don't know why, but the picture made my stomach twist. Not because it was creepy, though it was, but because something about it felt wrong. Like the moment it captured wasn't meant to be seen. I should have thrown it away, but I didn't. I put it on my desk, and that's when things started happening. The first thing I noticed was the girl's head. In the original photo, she was facing away from the camera. But the next morning, when I looked at it again, her head was turned slightly to the left. Not much, just enough that I could see the outline of her cheek. I told myself I was misremembering, that the angle of the light was different, that I was being stupid. But the next day, her head had turned even more. She was looking over her shoulder, not at the camera, at me. I dropped the photo. My hands were shaking so badly, I almost tore it. I left it face down on the desk and tried to forget about it. That lasted about 3 hours. That night, I woke up to a soft rustling sound, like paper sliding across wood. I turned on the lamp. The photograph was on the floor beside my bed, face up. The girl's head was now fully turned toward the camera. Her face was pale, blurred slightly by the age of the film, but her eyes were too dark, too wide, like she was staring straight at me. I put the photo in a drawer and slammed it shut. But the next morning, it was back on the desk, and the girl wasn't sitting anymore. She was standing, closer to the camera, closer to me. I tried to destroy it. I tore it in half. The pieces slid back together overnight. I burned it. The ashes reformed on my desk. I threw it in the bin outside. It was waiting on my pillow when I came back inside. Every time the photo returned, the girl was closer, her face clearer, her expression sharper. She wasn't just looking at me anymore. She was watching me. 2 nights ago, I woke up to the sound of footsteps, soft, light, bare feet on carpet. I froze. The room was dark, but I could see the outline of the photograph on the bedside table. I swear to God, the girl wasn't in the picture anymore. The living room was empty. The space where she'd been standing was just blank. I felt something move at the foot of the bed, a shift in the air, a weight on the mattress, the faintest whisper of breath. I didn't look. I couldn't. I lay there until sunrise, shaking, barely breathing. When I finally forced myself to look at the photograph again, the girl was back in the picture. But now she was right up against the lens, her face pressed close, her eyes huge, her mouth slightly open like she was about to speak, and behind her, in the corner of the room, was a shape. Tall, shadowed, human, but not. I hadn't seen that before. I don't think it was there before. I think she brought it with her. I don't know what to do anymore. The girl moves every night. Sometimes she's closer. Sometimes she's further away. Sometimes she's not in the picture at all. And last night I woke up to the sound of someone humming, a soft, broken tune, coming from inside the photograph. I'm scared to sleep. I'm scared to look. I'm scared to throw it away again, because I know it'll come back. If anyone knows what this is, if anyone has ever seen a photograph that changes, please tell me what to do, because I think the girl is trying to get out, and I think the thing behind her already has. Story 3, The Journal. I don't really keep journals, never have. I've always thought they were a bit self-indulgent, like writing letters to a future version of yourself who probably won't care. But this journal, this one isn't mine. I found it in the house I moved into last month. It was wedged behind a radiator in the spare room, wrapped in a strip of old cloth, like someone had tried to hide it in a hurry. The cover is dark leather, cracked and peeling. The pages are yellowed, edges brittle. There's no name on the front, no date, just a single symbol burned into the leather, a circle, with a line through the center, like an eye that's been closed. I should have left it where it was, but I opened it. And that's when everything started. The first few pages were blank. Then, halfway through, the writing began. Small, cramped handwriting. No paragraphs, no dates. Just a stream of thoughts, like someone was writing as fast as they could. The first line said, "If you're reading this, it means it found you too." I laughed when I read that. Nervous laugh, but still. I thought it was some kind of prank, a creative writing exercise, a teenager's attempt at being spooky. But the next line wiped the smile off my face. It starts with the dreams. I'd been having nightmares for a week, always the same one. Standing in a dark room, unable to move, while something breathed behind me. I kept reading. The journal described the same dream, in detail, too much detail. The writer said the dreams would get worse, that the breathing would get closer, that eventually I'd feel a hand on my shoulder. I closed the journal. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I found the journal open on my kitchen table. I hadn't left it there. A new line had appeared on the page. "It knows you've read this." I slammed the book shut and shoved it in a drawer. But that night, the dream changed. I wasn't alone in the room anymore. There was a figure standing in the corner, tall, still, watching. I woke up drenched in sweat. I checked the drawer. The journal was open again. A new line. "Don't look at it." Over the next few days, the journal kept updating itself. I know how that sounds. I know how insane it is. But I swear on my life, the handwriting changed every time I opened it. Sometimes it warned me, Sometimes it described things I hadn't told anyone. Sometimes it wrote things I hadn't even thought yet. One entry said, "It's behind you when you read this." I dropped the journal and ran out of the room. I didn't look back. I couldn't. 3 nights ago, the dream changed again. I wasn't in the dark room anymore. I was in my own bedroom. The figure was standing at the foot of my bed, closer than before. I couldn't move, couldn't scream, couldn't breathe. It leaned forward. I felt its breath on my face, and then it whispered something. I woke up before I could understand the words. The journal was on my chest, open, a new line. It spoke your name. Yesterday, I tried to burn the journal. I threw it in the fireplace and lit a match. The flames curled around the pages, but the journal didn't burn. The fire went out all at once, like something smothered it. When I picked the journal up, the pages were warm, and a new line had appeared. You can't destroy what remembers you. Last night was the worst. I didn't dream. I woke up to the sound of pages turning. The journal was open on the floor. The pages were flipping on their own faster and faster, like a hand I couldn't see was rifling through them. Then it stopped. On a blank page, words began to appear, slowly, one letter at a time. It's in the house. I heard footsteps in the hallway, soft, deliberate, coming toward my room. I grabbed the journal and hid in the bathroom. I stayed there until sunrise. I haven't checked the hallway since. I don't want to know what I'll see. I'm writing this now because I don't know what else to do. The journal is open beside me. The page is blank, waiting. I think it wants me to write something. I think it wants me to finish the story. But I'm scared that if I do, it'll become true. If anyone has ever seen a journal that writes back, that knows things, please tell me what to do. Because the last line it wrote before going blank was, "You're the next author." And I don't want to know what happens when the journal runs out of pages. Story 4. The Mirror. If you're hearing this, it means the mirror has changed hands again. I don't know who you are or how you found it, but you need to understand something before you look into it. It doesn't show your reflection, not really. It shows what's behind you, even when nothing is there. I bought the mirror at a charity shop 2 towns over. It wasn't supposed to be for sale. The woman behind the counter told me it had been left outside the door overnight, leaning against the wall like someone didn't want to bring it inside. It was small, oval-shaped, framed in tarnished silver. The glass was cloudy, like it had been breathed on and never wiped clean. But something about it drew me in. Not curiosity, not beauty, more like recognition. I don't remember deciding to buy it. I just remember walking out of the shop with the mirror wrapped in newspaper, the woman watching me with an expression I couldn't read. The first time I hung it up, I noticed something strange. My reflection looked normal. Same tired eyes, same messy hair. But the room behind me didn't match the room I was standing in. The wallpaper was different. The lighting was dimmer. And there was a shadow in the corner that didn't belong to anything. I blinked, and the room snapped back to normal. I told myself it was a trick of the light, old glass, distortion. But the next morning, the mirror showed something else. Not my bedroom, not any room I recognized. A hallway, long, narrow, lit by a single flickering bulb, and at the far end, a figure. Standing perfectly still, I spun around. My room was empty. When I looked back at the mirror, the hallway was gone. Just my reflection again. I tried to ignore it. I told myself I was overtired, stressed, imagining things. But the mirror didn't stop. Every time I walked past it, the background changed. Sometimes it showed a forest at night, sometimes a basement with stone walls, sometimes a child's bedroom with toys scattered across the floor. And always, always, there was a figure somewhere in the frame. Never close, never clear. Just far enough away that I couldn't make out a face, but it was getting closer. Each day, a few inches nearer. I covered the mirror with a towel. The towel fell off in the night. I turned the mirror to face the wall. In the morning, it was facing outward again. I put it in a cupboard. The cupboard door was open when I woke up. I tried to get rid of it, left it in a skip behind the supermarket. When I got home, the mirror was hanging back on my wall, perfectly centered, perfectly straight, and the figure was closer than ever. The night everything changed. I woke to a sound like someone tapping on glass. 3 taps, pause, 3 taps, pause. I followed the sound to the hallway. The mirror was glowing faintly, like moonlight trapped under the surface. I should have run. I should have smashed it. But I stepped closer. The reflection wasn't my hallway anymore. It was the same long corridor I'd seen before, the one with the flickering bulb, and the figure was standing right behind my reflection, close enough to touch. I froze. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. The figure leaned forward, its face inches from mine, but the glass stayed cold. Then it lifted a hand and tapped 3 times on the inside of the mirror. I don't remember what happened next. I woke up on the floor, the mirror lying beside me, the glass unbroken. But my reflection, it wasn't right. It moved a fraction too slow. Its eyes didn't blink when mine did. Its mouth twitched into a smile I didn't make. I backed away. My reflection stayed still. Then it raised its hand, slowly, deliberately, and pointed behind me. I turned. Nothing was there. When I looked back, my reflection was gone. Just the empty hallway and the figure standing where I should have been. I don't know how long I have left. The mirror shows the hallway every time now. The figure is closer each night, and sometimes I hear tapping from inside the glass. If you found this recording, listen to me carefully. Don't look into the mirror. Don't touch it. Don't let it show you anything. Because once it replaces your reflection, you won't know which side of the glass you're on, and neither will anyone else. Story 5. The Toy. I don't really talk about my childhood, not because it was traumatic or anything. It was just weird. My mum collected old toys, porcelain dolls, wooden puppets, tin wind-ups, that kind of thing. Our house always felt like it was watching itself. But this story isn't about my mum's collection. It's about one toy in particular. One I didn't grow up with. One I found last month in a cardboard box outside a charity shop with a handwritten sign taped to it. Free, please take. I should have known that was a warning. The toy was a little wooden figure, about 8 inches tall, carved roughly like someone made it with a blunt knife. Its arms and legs were jointed with string, and its face was painted with 2 black dots for eyes and a thin, crooked smile. It wasn't cute. It wasn't charming. It looked wrong. But I don't know. Something about it felt familiar, like I'd seen it before. I took it home. I put it on a shelf in the living room, and that's when things started to get strange. The first night, I heard a soft tapping sound. Not loud, not threatening, just rhythmic. Tap, tap, tap. I got up, thinking it was a branch hitting the window, but the sound was coming from the shelf. The toy was lying on its side. I was sure I'd left it standing. I picked it up, set it upright, and went back to bed. Tap, tap, tap. I ignored it. I shouldn't have. The next morning, the toy was on the coffee table, sitting upright, facing the hallway. I live alone. I told myself I must have moved it and forgotten, that I was tired, distracted, anything. But that night, I woke up to the tapping again. This time, it was louder. Tap, tap, tap. I went into the living room. The toy was sitting on the floor, facing the doorway. Its head was tilted slightly upward, like it was looking at me. I picked it up and put it in the drawer, closed the drawer, locked it, went back to bed. Tap, 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 from inside the drawer. The next morning, the drawer was open. The toy was on the kitchen counter. Its head was tilted to the side now, like it was listening. I threw it in the bin outside. I watched the bin lorry take it away. I felt relieved. That lasted until the next night. Tap, tap, tap. I opened my bedroom door. The toy was sitting at the top of the stairs, facing me. I tried to destroy it. I snapped its arms. They reattached overnight. I burned it. The wood blackened, but the toy didn't burn. I smashed it with a hammer. The pieces were whole again by morning. Every time it came back, it was closer. Not physically. It never moved while I was looking at it. But its posture changed. Its head tilted differently. Its arms positioned in new ways. Its smile, wider. Like it was learning, like it was practicing. 3 nights ago, I woke up to the tapping again. But this time, it wasn't coming from the shelf, or the drawer, or the stairs. It was coming from the foot of my bed. Tap, tap, tap. I froze. I didn't want to look, but I did. The toy was standing on the blanket, right by my feet. Its head was tilted all the way back, staring up at me. Its smile was wrong, too wide, too sharp, and its arms were raised, like it was reaching for me. I kicked it off the bed and ran downstairs. I didn't sleep. I didn't even sit down. I just waited for sunrise. Yesterday morning, I found the toy in the kitchen, but it wasn't sitting or standing. It was lying on its back, arms spread, legs bent, like it had fallen or been dropped. And next to it, on the floor, was a small footprint. Not mine, not a child's, a wooden one, the same shape as the toy's carved feet, except bigger, about the size of a grown man's. I don't know what to do anymore. The toy is back on the shelf now, sitting perfectly still, smiling that crooked smile. But I swear its eyes are different. They're not painted dots anymore. They're deeper, darker, like something is looking out from inside. And last night, I heard something new. Not tapping, not footsteps. A voice, soft, whispering, coming from the toy. I couldn't make out the words, but I think it was saying my name. Story 6. The key. If you found the key, don't use it. I know that sounds ridiculous. It's just a piece of metal, right? But I'm telling you this because I made the mistake of turning it. And once you open the door, it belongs to. It doesn't close again. I found the key in a box of junk at a car boot sale. The seller was an old man with a table full of mismatched items, rusted tools, chipped mugs, a stack of VHS tapes with no labels. The key was the only thing that looked deliberate. It was heavy, older than anything else on the table, iron maybe, cold enough that it felt like it had been kept in a freezer. The bow of the key was shaped like an eye, a perfect oval with a slit through the center. The teeth were jagged, uneven, like they'd been filed by hand. I asked the man where it came from. He didn't answer. He just stared at the key, then at me, and said, "Some doors shouldn't be opened." I should have walked away, but I didn't. I bought it for £1. The key didn't fit any lock in my house. I tried the front door, the back door, the shed, the old padlock on the garden gate. Nothing. But every time I held it, I felt a faint vibration, like it was humming, like it was waiting. That night, I left it on the kitchen counter. At 3:12 a.m., I woke to the sound of metal scraping against wood. I went downstairs. The key was gone. I found it on the floor by the basement door, a door I never use, a door that's been locked since I moved in, a door with no keyhole. Except now, there was one. A small, perfect keyhole that hadn't been there before. The key fit perfectly. I should have run. I should have called someone. I should have done anything except what I did. But curiosity is a kind of hunger, and the key wanted to be turned. When I twisted it, the lock clicked. A deep, heavy sound, like something waking up. The door swung open on its own. The basement wasn't a basement anymore. It was a corridor, long, narrow, stone walls slick with moisture, a faint light flickering at the far end. I stepped inside. The door closed behind me. The corridor felt wrong, too long, too cold, too quiet. My footsteps didn't echo. The air tasted metallic, like blood on a coin. Halfway down the corridor, I heard something behind me, a soft tapping, like fingernails on stone. I turned. Nothing. But the tapping continued. Closer. Faster. I started walking, then walking faster, then running. The corridor stretched ahead of me, the light flickering like it was struggling to stay alive. The tapping turned into scraping, then dragging, then breathing. I didn't look back. I reached the end of the corridor and found another door. Old wood, iron hinges, no handle, just a keyhole, the same shape as the key. I shoved it in and turned. The door burst open and I fell through. I landed on my kitchen floor. The basement door was shut behind me. The key was still in my hand. I tried to tell myself it was a nightmare, a hallucination, sleep paralysis, anything. But the basement door now has a keyhole, a real one. And sometimes, late at night, I hear tapping from the other side. 3 taps, pause, 3 taps, pause, like something is waiting, like something followed me back 2 nights ago. I woke to find the key on my pillow, cold, heavy, humming. The basement door was open, just a crack, enough to see darkness beyond it. Not the normal kind, the kind that feels like it's looking back. I pushed the door shut. It didn't budge. Something on the other side pushed back, hard. I dropped the key. The door slammed shut. The tapping started again. 3 taps, pause, 3 taps, and then a whisper so faint I thought I imagined it. Let me in. If you found this recording, listen carefully. The key doesn't open doors. It opens paths. And once you turn it, the path remembers you. Don't use it. Don't touch it. Don't let it near any locked door. Because whatever is behind that door, it wants out. And it knows your name now. And that brings us to the end of tonight's tales. Thank you for listening to the Midnight Ledger, Bite Size. Don't forget, some things should never be found. Good night. Sleep tight. Mind the nightmares don't bite.